All right. Hey, everybody. Grier Allen here, co-founder and CEO of BoomTown. I am really happy today to be hosting a long-time friend and mentor from the real estate industry, Bob Corcoran. Bob, thanks for joining me today.
Grier, it's great to be here. It's always great doing something with you. We've been together so long. I feel like you're my brother.
I agree, my friend. I agree. Well, Bob, the purpose here today is to really help the people listening to, to figure out how to weather the crisis that we're going through, and really, in essence, to come out stronger, knowing your track record and who you've been coaching over the last, several decades. I know you've been through situations like this before in the past and have that opportunity to lean on experience, which is huge in a situation like this. And so, super happy to have you here and super happy to share this information with others that are out there. I think, where do you want to get started, Bob? Do you want to talk about, just the market in general?
Yeah, I think first, for those who don't know me, I've been a real estate consultant and coach for over 30 years. And I've been through a lot of different crises in those years, starting back in the mid to late 80s with the savings and loan crisis, the dot-com bust in 2000, 9/11, 2008 housing crisis. And it seems that I've become the voice of reason in all crises, because people kind of look, Grier, look at our clients and say, why do his clients always come out of these crises in such great shape? It's
Right.
because of the philosophies that we embrace, about being a business owner, Grier. Okay,
Right.
so that excites me.
Absolutely. Well, I've heard you many times for many years harping on that very concept, Bob. So, yeah, I mean, what we're seeing, guys, in the market right now, and Bob, you can tell me what your clients are hearing and seeing as well. But we have, we follow the data. We use data to make a lot of decisions here at BoomTown. And when I look at the national data around new listings and new pending transactions over the last couple weeks, where we've been compared to previous, compared to 2019, is about 50% on both sides. So both the supply or the new listings that are coming on the market and the demand, which is new contracts being written and listings coming off the market, have been down about 50%. What I would say is the really encouraging news that has just started to emerge over the past several days. Just checking over the weekend and checking, just this morning, for the first time, what we're seeing is the national average actually move from a downward trajectory to an upward trajectory. So, I don't know if this is the bottom that we've just hit, but it is a bottom that we're hitting in terms of both listings. So new listings coming on the market, as well as new pendings that are dropping off the market. In fact, if we're looking at a map, about 34 of the 50 states are green, meaning that both of those metrics are trending upward rather than downward for the first time in the past 5 weeks.
Grier, one of the things I love is, as you well know, a lot of my clients are clients of yours as well. Okay. And, having that relationship, obviously I have, tremendous access to the back end of the BoomTown platform. I have seen the maps that you guys have put out, and I'm telling all the callers listening, if you are not a client of BoomTown, the data alone will pay for itself. Because I got to tell you, Grier, when I saw the latest map, when I looked at active listings, pendings, and closed, to see the trajectory, and if I believe it correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Grier, but like 3 weeks ago, pending sales were down 32%. That was like 28 days ago. Okay. And if we move that up to like 14 days ago, we went from being 28 or 30, I think it was 32% down to like 14 to the last 7 days, that pending sales were only down 4. When you have that kind of data, I'm sorry, if you don't have excitement and saying the market is coming back, then you're wrong. I will tell you right now, your clients, and I'm a data junkie like you, dude, okay? Because data tells us a story. And so based upon when I saw this data, I'm saying, okay, we're out of this, okay? Now we got to take control of it in order to expose our greatness as a realtor, as a CEO of a corporation. We've got to do a better job, but the data is exciting, Grier.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Bob. I couldn't agree more. Well, let's hop into talking about what people should be doing right now.
Excellent.
Specifically, I'm thinking about the team leaders that are out there that are listening to this call. There's a lot of different voices and distractions that are happening, obviously, with this pandemic. What are the most important things for a team leader to be really focused on right now?
Number one, you are the CEO of a corporation, Grier. All team leaders, stop thinking of yourself as a real estate agent. Think of yourself as a chief executive officer. And when you do that, okay, the whole world seems to change because you start thinking differently. As I've always said, and I love Daniel Ramsey from my Outdesk, as you well do, okay? But, Daniel said to me years ago, Bob, there's 3 types of people in a crisis. There's Chicken Little, the sky is falling. There's an ostrich, stick my head in the sand, or you can agree to outwork your competition, right? Even though I didn't know that's what I was doing, 30 years ago, I said, we're always going to outwork the competition, whether it's a crisis or not, Grier. So what I'm seeing is, number one, is a CEO, you're a team leader. Be the CEO, be the voice of reason. What's most important for your team first? I always say, care about you and your family first. Your team second, clients come in third or fourth. Okay, but as a team leader, you always make sure that your people, you don't have any chicken littles or ostriches. You may need to make sure your team's going to outwork the competition. How do we do that? By staying in touch with people. Right now, what is most important, you need to take sales scripts off the table. I don't care if you have a new lead coming in or you're following up with a past client or SOI. You need to focus on family and job first. So the Ford FORD script, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, okay, we focus on family and occupation. So every sales call, Grier, needs to start out with, if you're a team leader listening, this is more important right now than any other time, folks. You're a team leader, you have spent millions of dollars probably promoting your brand. So if you're a brand, I would say, hey, this is Bob with ABC Real Estate. Grier asked me to give you a call. Grier's my team leader. I'm a buyer agent, okay, because Grier has spent millions promoting his brand. Today, people aren't going to say, well, why didn't Grier call me? They're not going to think that. They're going to think today, through every crisis, they always think this. That was thoughtful of Grier to think of me. So get your team to do name dropping, because dropping a name as a team leader is going to open the door faster than, hey, this is Bob at ABC Real Estate. As soon as I drop the name Grier, people go, oh my God, Grier thought of me? And you guys are rock stars as team leaders, okay? So we need to do whatever it takes to overcome this, to get people to buy into us. And every script is, hey, this is Bob at ABC Real Estate. Grier asked me to give you a call. He wanted to know, how is it? We don't mention pandemic, don't mention the virus, don't create hysteria where it's not. Okay? We want to say, Grier want to know, how is this current situation affecting your family?
Absolutely.
How has it affected your job? Oh, we're all working from home? Oh, I have a document for you. Let me send that document over to you. Because people will remember you gave them something of value. So you as a team leader listening, what are you giving your clients of value? Okay, there's a lot of tools out there, but you got to look at give somebody something of value to want to continue to do business. And when through every crisis, as long as you show care and concern, transparency and empathy, the business will come back to bless you 10 times, Grier. So as a team leader, it's all about focus on family. How's it affected your job? If it's a new lead, now, Grier, I understand you want to list your house, but show concern first, Grier. So my advice, team leaders, show concern first, following what I just said.
Absolutely. And Bob, you mentioned just communication in general, and obviously this is this has been a shift for us. I mean, we've got 350 people working for us in Charleston, and not being able to see all those people every day is challenging, both for for me as a leader, but also for the team. And so staying connected in other ways, doing videos. I've started to shoot a video every week to stay in touch with them, and that's been really well received. And our reps, that our success managers that are constantly talking to our customers, they have a split between email and texting and calling that they typically do. And right now they're trying to stay out of email as much as possible and communicate, like you said, just trying to stay in communication, but also being able to express their empathy for the situation that people are going through. And those are the types of conversations, to your point, that we need to be having right now.
100% agree there, Grier. It is so important for transparency and empathy connectivity. I've had a lot of people getting rid of their instant chat, saying, look, I don't want instant chat. I want my agents, my support staff actually talking to people. And the beautiful thing about all these stay-at-home, stay-in-place policies, people are desperate to talk to somebody outside of their spouse or children.
That's
so,
right.
And I had one client a couple of weeks ago, Grier, okay, some of us are a little zoomed out right now,
right.
Okay? Yeah. And so even coming onto a webinar like this, they're grateful for the thousands of people that registered for this webinar, Grier. They're anxious to talk to somebody outside of their spouse and kids, okay?
That's right.
So now we have their attention. Okay. And I had one client say, look, Bob, I was able to, if I talked to, 4 great conversations in an hour in the past, today I can only have 2 because these people want to talk.
Right.
Folks, be patient. Take your sales scripts off the table. Let people talk, because right now you are a therapist.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say another thing that you touched on there was just people are looking for information. They're looking for for information. Things are changing so rapidly out there in the market, and I shared some national stats with you earlier, but you can go into your MLS and pull these reports yourself, and I bet in the majority of markets you're starting to see that bottom occur. And so pulling reports on new listings taken week over week, pulling reports on, new, pending sales, new, all these sort of stats that, for all a consumer knows right now, the whole entire housing market is a complete and utter disaster. But the difference between this and I got to experience 2008, Bob. I didn't experience all the ones that you mentioned in terms of the troubles that you've seen, but in 2008, I mean, understanding and helping the consumer understand that, that in 2008, the housing market, or at least the mortgage market, was the problem. We were part of the problem that was happening in those economic times. But in these times, I'm really starting to believe strongly that real estate will be the segment of the economy that will get things going again in this particular instance.
And I agree 100% there. When I've talked to chief economist there at NAR, okay, read his articles, he was projecting a 10% downturn. Okay. And I'm thinking 10%, not bad compared to 08. Okay. Yet all of my clients have always come out of all of these crises, and the following 12 months, they were up 30%. Why? Because it's what we did during the crisis. That's why, messages like we're giving our people today is to give them hope. Okay, and say, if you will follow and do this, you'll come out smelling strong. When I look at the difference between 08 and this, is people are dying today.
Right.
Okay, and that, my heart, God bless
Absolutely.
those. We have so many different frontline workers too today, Grier. Grocery store workers, truckers. It's not just the firefighters, policemen, EMTs, right? Today there are so many frontline workers. I have clients, we talk about they put big signs up in the front of a yard of a nurse. Thank you for
I
being
love
my
it.
hero.
I
Okay?
love that.
And I think this is what we need to do. This is a time right now for community.
Absolutely.
And what can you as an agent do that's giving back to your community in this time of need? The more that teams out there and agents, Grier, actually look and say, what can I do for my community? That's what pays them back 10 times. And quit
Absolutely.
focusing on the sale, focus on the community. The sale will come later, Grier.
Focusing on the community will in fact build your brand. It will build your brand
100%.
at a time. It is an opportune time. I was speaking with a client the other day that he had invited his favorite bartender and server from a couple different restaurants, and they set up a virtual happy hour for some folks in their database in the community. Did it in a Zoom format. Everybody was invited. The bartenders got to talk about their favorite drinks and how to make them. And what the client did is they actually set up a Venmo account so that the bartenders could be tipped in a time where they can't do their job. They're unemployed at this point in time, or furloughed. So another great example of
yeah.
just thinking about the community and thinking about how you can be creative to help your community at a time of need.
That's beautiful, Grier, because I had another client that hired a bartender, and when I talked to the client, it was a week later. The bartender got $130 in tips.
Wow!
Think about that, okay? And that was actually, it was about 4 days ago, because I gave him that tip from you when we talked a couple of weeks ago. You had told me
Right.
that. So I was talking to a client, and we talked, and she went and set it up, got a bartender. Guy got 130 tips in one night. He goes,
That's great.
that was more than I normally get. I'm saying we have a new reality, virtual bars.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
think,
what do we see really challenging most of the people today, though, Grier?
yeah, I think, the one thing that I would say, Bob, is that, again, going back to the data, the consumers are still out there, and they're actively searching on the digital side of the platform. So, we get the benefit of seeing millions upon millions of consumers to our clients' websites every month. The engagement is as high as it's ever been. I think we saw a little bit of a drop from February to March, maybe 3%, which is insignificant, and it changes like that every month. But it's when you see the market down roughly 50%, it's certainly insignificant compared to that kind of drop. So what that tells you is the consumers are still out there, and there's this demand that is still out there for housing, which is a great sign. And as soon as a lot of these things get lifted, like the shelter in place, when it's safe to make those moves, that these consumers are going to start moving from that interested phase down into that ready to transact phase. And on the digital marketing side, the paid advertising here at BoomTown, I got to give them a big shout out here, because in April, month to date, we have a historically low cost per lead. And so when we talk about what people are doing, what teams and CEOs are doing during this time, the ones that are investing into their marketing, investing into their brand building in their community, like you said earlier, Bob, that's the difference, because a lot of people are taking their money out of the advertising. The ones that are continuing to spend are benefiting from historically low cost per lead.
Well, Grier, you bring up a great point here, because right now what I get from a lot of my clients right now is, I need to cut. I need to cut expenses, right? Well, if you haven't already applied for the payroll protection plan, please do so. Don't listen to media. They're out of money. Congress is voting on a bill today to bring $400 billion back into this market right now, okay? Fortunately, I got approved today on my payroll protection. So that's great news. Just heard it at 7 o'clock this morning. Okay.
Nice.
Which is great. And the whole thing is the government, I believe, is doing everything they can to help us. Okay. We
Absolutely.
need to take advantage of it. Okay. But at the end of the day, what I believe in real estate has always been a stabilizing market in the United States. Real estate, values may go down, guys, but at the end of the day, values will also go up. Okay, and real estate has always been one of the historically safe investments. You know, it depends where you are in the country. Generally, the Midwest has a 3 to 4% increase in values. You go to coastal places, like my property has increased value 50%, but God only made so much waterfront.
That's
Okay,
right.
and I live on the water, folks. So yes, I'm suffering hard in self-quarantine. Anyway, but what I like, what you shared with me a couple of weeks ago, is that the people that are spending the money to create the leads are getting a better price, because when you're looking at pay-per-click, these companies that were doing pay-per-click through realize the struggles and they're reducing their prices. Is that what I'm understanding, Grier?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's all an auction, with either Google or Facebook, whatever paid, search or paid social channel there is out there. You're sort of at the mercy of what, what's available, and it's a supply demand game. So the price rises as more, demand is out there, or as, more supply. So when people take their ads off, what that's going to do is it's going to put your ad in a position to be able to go higher for a lower cost. And so
Amen.
that's how
Good.
people are taking advantage of that. And so that's a real opportunity. But what I would say also is that a lot of agents are distracted, and rightfully so. This is a time where you're working from home, and going back to your analogy, the ostrich with the head in the sand, sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of that, when you're going through a time like this. But the ones that are really being focused on driving the right accountability and the right metrics, making the phone calls, having the right conversations with consumers that need information, and being that knowledge broker for people out there in the industry right now is a huge opportunity that not a lot of people are taking advantage of. There's a lot of agents out there that have, they're just not working as hard as they would. But, in essence, what you have is a situation where, the bottom of the funnel or closing business is sort of, delayed. It's not off the table. It's just being pushed out. And so that should give you the opportunity to focus more time on prospecting for new leads and nurturing your database.
Grier, you're 100% correct. The thing is, if I look at it where we are today, I think here we are at middle of April, let's call it. Okay, I think we lost the first couple of weeks of the month. Okay, on real lead gen. We're going to see the effect probably in May, June, July. Okay. However, folks, please listening. Double down on your lead follow-up, double down on your prospecting, double down on calling past clients, and the business will come back to bless you. I guarantee that. I'm giving you advice over my 31 years of every crisis I've been through. The advice has been the same. Double down on prospecting, folks. Lead follow-up. Take sales off the table. Every script is the same. Bob at ABC Real Estate want to check in with you. How's your family? How's this affected your job? Trust me, if you just got laid off and you're a new lead, not a good sales call. Okay, that's okay, but you can help them. Okay, show care and concern, folks. When you do this, when you take the advice that Grier and I are sharing with you today, I guarantee you'll come out of this smelling like a rose. But Grier, you can say we have people out there that want to stick their head in the sand, dude. Okay?
Absolutely.
Winners don't do that.
That's right.
Who are you, a winner or a loser? It's your choice every day. And if you're a team leader, you get your team to double down on lead follow-up, always asking, how's your family? How's it affected your job? When you ask, how's it affected your job, it's kind of a pre-qualification question. Okay. Sure. But Grier, I got to bring up new topic. We're seeing recently the banks are taking certain precautions. There's word on the street that they want to raise the credit scores to over 700, okay, with 20% down, because they're afraid of what happened in 2008 may now happen today. Are you hearing anything about that from your clients or banks?
We are, yeah. We get on a call with a dozen or so clients every single week, and we're hearing that the non-QM mortgages, the ones that aren't W-2 employees with all the right documents are just getting challenging to get done, just because they're seeing risks associated with that, and so that's a challenge, and it's one thing that we've got to watch, and I think that the government is actually looking at ways to help. I think some of the risk and some of the kind of risk-based kind of the banks lowering their risk threshold is really related to a lot of the forbearance. So what the banks are having to do now, which is kind of delaying the payments for if people are in trouble, and so I think that's already leading to a lot of fear from the mortgage companies, and so hopefully the government will be able to figure out a program to help them out through this as well.
And I believe that will happen, Grier. But as I look at clients of BoomTown, we're generating new leads coming in, and what I think is grossly important is still the urgency and how fast we get back to the lead. But folks, please listen and listen carefully. Take your sales scripts off the planet right now. Show transparency and empathy. Every time you get a new lead in, I don't care if you call an SOI or a new lead, script is still the same. Bob at ABC Real Estate, okay, I want to check in. How's your family? How's it affected your job? Okay, don't bring up the virus. We don't want to create hysteria, so we don't bring up the virus. How is it affected? Follow the script the way I'm telling you. And then say, if it is a new lead, I understand you want to list your property. Tell me about it.
Bob?
Yes, Michael.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. I just want to let you guys know that we have a hand raised by Vicki Horseman. I'm going to allow her to talk so she can ask her question directly.
All right, please. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, Vicki, unmute yourself and ask your question. I'm seeing yourself. Oh, hang on, there we go. Unmute, Vicki, if you want to ask your question. Well, all right, we're having trouble with unmuting here. Okay, not happening.
Do you have a question, Michael, or no?
She didn't type it in. Vicki, if you could type it into the chat box or into the Q&A box, we'll get your question asked. Yeah, we'll address that question.
Fantastic, Michael. Thank you,
Okay.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right. Monica put Chase already is leading the path. I know, and that's where it started. The problem, just so you know, Monica, Chase is a lion, and when the lions do this, the lambs follow. Okay, and that's where we have to be cautious. I hope it doesn't become the norm. Okay, but if it does, we just rework the model, folks. Okay, there's many ways to skin this cat here, and if you are diligent about what you want to do, please do it now. Now is the time to do it. Does that make sense, Grier?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's one question that I was going to ask you, Bob, is on the listing side, what are you suggesting on the listing side, or when a consumer, when a seller is asking, hey, should they keep their listing on the market or should they take it off the market? What sort of advice are you giving them?
Can you hear me, Grier?
I can.
A little difficult here. All right, so when a seller, so right now what we're telling sellers is now is an absolute optimum time. Everything is being done transactionally, virtually for the most part, okay? And so number one, a seller wants to put the house in the market, put it on the market. how do we take the listing, whether I'm doing it through a Zoom call because I can share documents on Zoom, and you're using products like .loop or DocuSign to send the agreement in. Sellers, you know what? Things are a little slower right now, but this will give us ample opportunity to get your house properly marketed. So everything is a script. Remember this, folks. Everything is a script. Okay? How great of a salesperson are you depends on the script you use and how convincing you really are to get people to do what you need them to do. Now is not a time to take your house off the market. Be proactive, people. Please, I plead with you to be proactive. That's my response, Grier.
All right, we have a few more questions here.
All right, go ahead, Michael.
I'm going to let Billy Stefanski ask her question. Okay, I've unmuted you. I allowed you to talk. You need to unmute your microphone. Billy, there we go. All right, folks, if I allow you to unmute, you got to unmute your microphone. We're having trouble with unmuting here. Okay, type your question into the chat box. We got another one from Monica. How about auctions? Is this a good strategy now?
You know, in my professional opinion, auctions never really took off in the U.S. You know, I was down doing training down in Australia, and 80% of the real estate was sold by auction. Okay, but auction never took off in the U.S. Now is the time. You know what? Get with an auctioneer and find out. But, you know, real estate, you know, when I look at Australia market, that 80% of properties were sold by auction versus through an MLS. Okay, and why it never caught on the U.S. is unbeknownst to me, as big as it is in Australia. So is auction a good strategy? Everything's a great strategy. That's my answer, Monica.
All right. And folks, if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, you need to unmute yourself, and the mute and unmute button is on the lower left of your screen. Just put your cursor to the lower left, and you'll see you'll be able to unmute. So
very good. Thanks,
yeah.
Michael.
All right.
All right. Moving forward until you get another question, Michael. Okay. I think what is extremely important here, Grier, is that people keep a positive attitude.
Without question. No, it's
okay.
Yeah, without question. That is something that, you know, that we're trying to make sure that, you know, that everybody at BoomTown does as well. And you know, oh, there's the try hat.
Sorry, Grier. I have too many clients on this call, and if I did not pull the hat out, I would get a bunch of garbage. So,
I
dude,
knew it would come out at least once.
Trying, folks, is about failing. That's my mantra. You either do it or don't do it. Okay, go ahead, Grier. Sorry, bro.
Yeah. So I lost my train of thought a little bit there, but no, I mean, positivity, you know, you that's the one thing you can control, right?
Yeah.
The one thing you can control is how you respond to all this. And listen, everybody is weathering this storm together, and you know, listen, it's something that we gotta get through together. You know, one of the things that we're proud of is that, you know, that we get to help, you know, small businesses across the U.S., you know, and that's something we're very proud of. And our mission is to make real estate agents successful. And so rallying behind that has been a very positive thing for our business. And I think that, you know, for real estate agents and teams out there, I mean, what you guys are doing to help, you know, as an essential service in most cases, you know, to help consumers, you know, make this, you know, most important decision of their life from a financial standpoint is huge. And it's something that you and your team should be rallied behind.
Exactly. You know, I was talking to a client, gosh, 2 months ago, when before all of this really, you know, became more, I'll call it pandemic. And I told her, I said, look, we have to look at things like virtual open houses. We have to show care and concern. Okay, and this is where the coaching, I think, it becomes extremely valuable, is in times like this, what do we need to do? So this particular client, we were talking about virtual opens. This was 2 months ago, right? Let me fast forward to 3 weeks ago. She held 44 virtual open houses. 44 virtual opens on a Sunday. Each virtual was held for 15 minutes. You know, we started out with the agents were not present in the property. They used Matterport, which is a great platform. So the agent came on, talked about the property, showed the Matterport video, then came on at the end. The average open house was held for 15 minutes, 15 minutes virtual. Her average number of live views during the live virtual open, 40 to 50 people live, Grier.
Wow.
Go ahead.
There's actually a lot of MLSs that are providing this data to us now. So if you do create a virtual open within your MLS and put it in there, then what BoomTown is going to do is they're going to, you know, we're going to show every single virtual open house that is on your MLS as well. So that's a feature that we rolled out, and then virtual home showings also is another thing that we rolled out.
I don't know if I like all this. You're helping my enemy here, not my client. I know I appreciate what you do, Grier. But here, folks, here's what was important. You know, the virtual opens, remember, 44 virtual opens in one weekend on a Sunday, actually all on Sunday, viewed by 40 to 50 people live. More importantly, they were recorded and posted to Facebook. The average number of views after the virtual was live was 400 per full open. That's over 17,000 views in 24 hours. What does that do for their SEO?
It's huge.
Okay, think about it. People get too wigged out. Oh, I'm uncomfortable. Start on a small scale. Then, you know, like when we set up the plan with this one client, it wasn't about doing 44 virtuals. It was about doing one. Do one, work out your bugs, and then go big. I say go big or go home. Right now is an opportunity for everybody. Please go big or go home. Invest in your clients, okay? Be transparent, show empathy. But here, number one comment this client had, Grier, on the virtual opens, thank you for not being like all the other realtors and do nothing. Thank you for not sticking your head in the sand. Gee, isn't that what I said earlier? Thank you for being proactive. I don't know what listing agent out there doesn't love hearing those three things from a seller. And
Absolutely.
Folks, when you do that, you're showing value to the client, because that's what you're doing. You're showing value. I'm doing whatever it takes to help you. Show the value, be proactive, communicate to your clients, and you're going to come out on top.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice for anybody, you know, any listing agent out there.
Amen.
So, you know, Bob, one other thing that I was wanting to ask you was just around the, you know, the whole idea of, you know, of cost savings, because unfortunately this is, you know, it's a tight time for so many people that are probably listening to this call in terms of cash flow. You know, coming off of, you know, the holidays and spending there. I mean, this was the prime time when people are going to be ramping up and starting to make more money and being able to kind of fill the coffers back up for the year. What advice do you have in terms of, you know, some people that might not have been able to get their PPP loan knocked out in this first tranche? You know, what are some of the cost savings measures that you're recommending to your clients today?
In my opinion, what I've done with my clients, I said we have to put all expenses on the table, okay, and say what is the value these expenses, you know, bring to the company. With all of my clients, you know, I do a profit and loss review once a month, so we know where our money is coming from. We know what our return on investment is on all leads. So what we have done over the last month, I'll say, is look at the ROI. I'm looking at a minimum of a 4 to an 8 ROI. So if I spend $1, I want to make 4 minimum. So we take a look at the P&L, Grier, and we do extensive media research. As you know, look at the data. The data tells you the story. And once you have your data and you look at where my leads are coming from, what's my conversion rate, I'm figuring out my ROI. What I am telling you, here's a great example. A lot of our listeners here shared clients, Matt Wagner from Radio and Television Experts. And I said, you know, my philosophy is if I look at radio and television, not a lot of travel time, not a lot of drive time radio going on right now. So a lot of my clients, you know, when I'm talking to them about radio and television, I say, hey, let's look at what you're spending on drive time. Let's decrease that, but increase it on television commercials, because TV viewership is up over 300% right now. So it's about, sometimes, Grier, it's not always about cutting costs, but reallocating costs to where the money is going to be. When we look at lead generation, like you just said, right now, why would I want to cut my pay-per-click? Don't cut pay-per-click, folks. Please, because right now you're getting the best ROI because you have less competition out there because everybody else is cutting down. You see, winners advance, losers retreat. And folks, what I'm telling you is advance at all costs. Are you all in or all out? Me, folks that know me, I've been doing this 30 years, you know I'm all in. So Grier, the bottom line is you got to look at certain things that maybe here, one of the things I look at, the biggest cut right now is on chat features. Okay. You know, we have things that people say we have different companies out there doing artificial intelligence on chat features. I'm telling you right now, take it off the table. I'd rather my agents, because they're slower, lead volume's a little down, I'd rather my agents be communicating with the people than instant chat. So let's be judicious in where we cut, folks.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got to get on the phone and talk to people, period.
Without question. I couldn't
that
agree
was
more with
passionate right there.
So, you know, in terms of these, you know, sort of short term rather decisions that people are making, like what sort of advice do you have, you know, that you could give people on, you know, what are the dangers out there and how do you avoid them, you know, versus more of the longer term thinking?
You know, from my heart, folks, when I'm telling you, this is severe. There is life and death here. This is not like 08. This is unlike any crisis we've ever had in America. Number one, folks, I'm telling you, you care about yourself, you care about your family, you care about your team. Your clients come in third or fourth. What I'm telling you, show care and concern to people, because that's what we need. I need to know that you care about me. Even though you may not know me, please care about me. That's all people want to know, is that they matter, Grier. This is life and death. We have to show the empathy to people, folks. So when you get into a new call, you have a new lead coming in, please take your sales step back a bit, show transparency and show empathy. Care about your people, care about their family, because when you care about their family, they will remember that, Grier. This is huge. However, we will overcome this if we agree we are winners and not losers. That's always been my philosophy, Grier.
No doubt. No. It's a challenging time for sure for so many. And you know, it's you know, I think that's that's definitely a testament, Bob, and just fantastic advice, because it's a challenging time. You never know, you know, what the situation's going to be when someone picks up the phone on the other line. And
yeah. Next thing I can't wait for his next big ass BoomTown event where I can come together with all my boomers. Hold on here. All my boomers, wrap my arms around you, hug you, and tell you how much I care about you.
Well, Bob, the if it's not a hurricane that cancels BoomTown United, it's a pandemic.
No, we can say we've been through both, right?
We've been through both. We've been through both.
All right, folks. Hey, we're wrapping up here, I know. And if you have, Michael, I don't know if there's any questions, that you have open yet before Grier and I part ways here. But folks, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, huge opportunity exists right now for you. If you will agree to outwork the competition, you will take your leads. I don't care if they're being generated by BoomTown or whoever. Show care and concern to your leads. All of my clients, I can guarantee this, that have showed care and concern came out of every crisis, increasing production 30% in the next 12 months. And that's what life's all about. We're either going to win or we're going to lose, and we're going to win or lose based upon our own personal attitude, Grier.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better, Bob.
Michael, any closing questions coming in?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered everything. Great job, gentlemen.
Grier, I can't thank you enough for this. I love you and respect you so much. I've known you a number of years. Bob sighting, that's an internal joke between Grier and I. Grier and I are cut from the same cloth, folks. Okay? We care about you. We care about our clients, and we care about the future of real estate. We will always give back to real estate. If you would like to have a one-on-one call with me, please go to my website, bobcorcoran.com, C-O-R-C-O-R-A-N, bobcorcoran.com. Click on schedule an appointment. I'd be happy to discuss your business plan one-on-one with you. Help me help you. Grier, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, we're at boomtownroi.com. One thing I would say, Bob, is again, I just reiterate, there's three parts of the real estate business. There's generating new leads, there's nurturing your current, opportunities, and there's closing business. With that bottom one being delayed, with closings being delayed, this is an opportunity to really invest in the top and the middle funnel of your business. I just encourage you if you do it with BoomTown or whoever you're going to do it with, just invest the time. Do your best to keep your team focused by communicating with them and really trying to keep that cadence of communication going and because you're learning so much day to day in a market like this because it's changing that much day to day.
Yeah.
And so I just highly encourage you guys to take that time to really invest in those things and set yourself up for a rocket ship coming out of this. And hopefully that'll be soon, and hopefully lives will be spared along the way.
If we control our attitude, Grier, the rocket ship will take off, won't it?
That's absolutely right. No question about it.
Grier and I thank you from the bottom of our heart being here for you. We care about you. If you want us to help you, please reach out and ask. It's not about whether you're a client or not. It's immaterial to us. We are so passionate about this industry. That's why we do these customer service videos. We love you. Thank you for joining us. If we can be of assistance, please reach out. Thank you. Thanks, Grier.
Thank you, Bob.
Love you, brother.